There is a brand new competition show out there, and the streets have been talking about it ever since its premiere. The Squid Game reality show has finally been released, and just like the scripted series, it has absolutely taken over social media. Now, this show was announced a while ago, so it's been in production for quite some time, so I was kind of getting a little bit nervous about the timing of its release. After all, the original Squid Games came out over 2 years ago, so at this point, most of the hype had just completely died off around the show. The costumes and merch had come and gone, Mr. Beast had already done his thing, but still, this show is such a fresh take on the competition reality drama, and of course, the players themselves are the backbone of the entire thing. Squid Game, the challenge is good, y'all. Like, really freaking good. The storytelling is gripping, the character building is mesmerizing, the edit is concise yet effective. Look, Netflix just doesn't have the best track record for reality TV in my eyes. I'm not a big fan of their toxic dating shows, and I don't really love The Circle either, so my expectations really weren't that high for this. But nonetheless, they have been exceeded tremendously. In this video, I'm going to be recapping the premiere episode, breaking down some of the strategy we've seen, and of course, talking about the gameplay. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I do cover other reality TV shows from time to time as well. Now, let's get started. So we have 465 players gathering together to compete in this series, which has to be some kind of record, right? So the competition is stiff as hell right off the bat, but it is the prize pot that's keeping everybody salivating. Over $4.6 million will be awarded to the winner of the show, which is the largest cash prize pot in TV history. I mean, they had to one-up Mr. Beast somehow, right? The first game that everyone has to play is Red Light, Green Light, which we all know from watching the scripted show. The concept sounds simple enough, but once the competition kicks off, we see that people start getting eliminated left and right. We're told that this competition is only gonna last 5 minutes, but what we don't know as viewers is that this competition actually lasted around 7 to 8 hours in real life, in a freezing cold room, no doubt. But instead of informing us, the viewers, as this, instead we're given this narrative that this is only a 5-minute long game, which is fine, I guess. It just kind of takes away some of the drama. Now, would the stakes and storytelling be more affected if this was presented as an endurance competition that lasted hours in grueling conditions? I think so. I think it would definitely help us empathize with their pain a little bit better, but I guess what we're given is fine enough. It definitely makes more sense to me now why some of the players were running with their hands in their pockets the whole time. And some people just chose to dive down to the ground and just lay down completely throughout the whole thing, which is probably the strategy I would have used because I am not good with the cold at all, and I know I would have been shivering. So this competition plays out, and in the end, we are left with only 197 players remaining. The absolute grueling conditions in Game 1 was enough to knock over half of the players out. We as an audience just didn't know it. So now that the game is down to the wire a little bit more, this is where we're really going to start to meet some of these contestants. With over 100 contestants, obviously not everyone can be the star or have a confessional, but I do think the show does a pretty good job at highlighting some of the key players in the game. For example, we have Leanne, the ex-track star who is there competing with her son. We also meet Dr. Rick, your friendly neighborhood beekeeping tattooed doctor.
You know, no one thinks I'm a threat. They think, I'm frail, but I'm not really frail. And my mind is sharp, and that can help my chances a great deal.
We also meet some people who are gonna grow to become some A-tier villains this season, like Lorenzo and Brighton.
For me, everybody is just money. One person gets eliminated, it's another $10,000.
I use the term villain with absolute love, by the way. Every TV show, every series, every story needs a villain or an antagonist to help push the game along. A lot of people don't want to do it. They don't want to step into that role and be the bad guy, but it is such an important role, and villains are usually some of my favorite characters to watch play in these things. So at this point in the game, now that everybody is really together, the alliances are are starting to form. The girls are gathering, the boys are broing down. We all know how this goes. But as a Big Brother fan, I will say I was absolutely shocked by how obvious some of these people were making their alliances, okay? I mean, there were people very clearly and obviously gathering in large groups and coming up with alliance names and talking game in front of everyone.
There's a group of guys I am now calling the bros. They're just always like strutting around, show how big and strong I am. It just puts a target on people's back.
Later on in the day, we see that two players, Kyle and Danny, are given a special secret power in the game. They have the option to either give one person an advantage in the next game or send someone home. I know a lot of discourse has talked about how sending someone home would be the best move to make here. After all, in the end, there can only be one person standing. However, I do want to push back on this a little bit and say that helping somebody out right here and building a bond with them could actually help you out a little bit more in the long run. Just follow along with me for a second. When you have almost 200 ops in a game, one individual person isn't really going to be a big threat to you. So eliminating one person gets you 0.5% closer to your goal, not even a full percent. But giving an advantage to someone with some social pull, like an influential doctor or a mother-son duo, could help you gain numbers for later on. And having some allies to have your back is going to become important a little bit later on in the game. I'm just saying. Plus, the competition results themselves can be so random that dozens and dozens of people are just going to eliminate themselves in these games anyway without you having to lift a finger. Ultimately, Kyle and Danny do decide to eliminate a player though, and with that, 196 remain. Now, my favorite. There is some food drama in this episode when Lorenzo takes it upon himself to steal some extra rations.
He's in line again.
No
He's at the
way.
top.
Thank you.
Lorenzo is a mess for this, and I absolutely love it. Food drama is my favorite type of drama in these things. Whenever people are forced to live together with limited rations, pure greed and hunger inevitably kicks in, and it is so fascinating to watch. Now, we will definitely be seeing some more food drama later on in the show, but for now, it is time for everyone to go to the next game, which is the cookie. After gathering into large groups of 4, one player from each group must now go up to try to fight for their group's cookie. And of course, absolutely no one wants that damn umbrella. But that's too bad, because if nobody is willing to take it, then all 4 of them are getting eliminated. At this point, skill doesn't matter. This is purely a game of manipulation and bargaining.
This is where it gets really cutthroat, right?
The social strategy is in full swing at this point, and this is where I really start to fall in love with this show. Group after group is eliminated after no one fails to come to a decision.
I want circle.
I'm taking triangle.
Nope, I'm taking triangle. You can have the umbrella.
And it's kind of hard to say what the best strategy here would be because ultimately someone else could easily decide your fate. I think I'd try going for the circle since it's the furthest in proximity away from that umbrella, and if anybody tried to come up to me and take it from me, I'd have to stand my ground. I just have to. You could try sussing out the weakest link and kind of manipulating them into doing it, or you could try finding the cockiest player in the group and challenging them to rise up and be the best or whatever you gotta say. Either way, I'd say take a simple shape and stand your ground no matter what. Do not take that umbrella. So that pretty much sums up the premiere episode of Squid Game's The Challenge. Of course, I want to know who are some of your favorite players so far and what strategies would you use to survive these games. Let me know in the comments below, but try to keep them as spoiler-free as you can. Once again, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you have not already, as I may be covering some of the other episodes in this series if you all are interested. I'll be seeing y'all around, but until next time, peace.